Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. Today we are joined by the Controller of the State of California. Her name is Betty Yee. And Madam Controller, I want to speak with you about life insurance.
Yes.
So life insurance is a critical part of any family plan.
Absolutely.
There can be a tragedy that can befall a family, and it'd be important that the spouse or whatever have the resources they need. But sometimes folks are not even aware that a spouse, a parent, a child bought life insurance.
Right.
Does that happen that often?
It's very common. You know, when you think about how sensitive it is when you speak about, personal financial affairs, and oftentimes when we lose a loved one, we don't know, the full story about our loved one's financial affairs. So, and that's why, with our unclaimed property program, our centralized database, there could be life insurance benefits for survivors.
And let's talk about that, because I would presume that usually spouses would have a sense of what's happening with life insurance.
Yes.
But parent to child, I mean, I have no idea what my parents' life insurance situation is. And even, especially when I was younger, I wouldn't, and I still don't.
Yes.
And so it has come to your attention that there are life insurance companies out there that didn't necessarily do their darndest to find the beneficiaries after the passing of one of their clients, I guess you could say.
Right.
Is that a fair way to say it?
It is a fair way to say it, although I'm glad to say that there were companies who were in that position.
Okay.
There are, we just have one company now that has refused to open up its books, and we'll continue to be sure that we have access to that. But for most all of the large life insurance companies, what they are doing now, as part of the work that our office has done, our legal team has done, is to now do their duty to find the loved ones who are owed these benefits.
But I think you're being a little humble, because from what I understand, while not all life insurance companies are bad actors, I would never want to say that.
Right.
But for the actions of Betty Yee, Controller, I think this happened with your counterpart in New York as well, I don't know if they would have been as diligent in their search for beneficiaries.
Well, let's say that what we were able to do, this began in 2008 when we began to audit a few dozen life insurance companies. And we had to compel them to open up their books for us to examine. And what we found that was an industry-wide practice was that these companies would not contact the surviving loved ones should their policyholder have passed away, to say that there are benefits for you to claim.
But of course, if there was an annuity, they would somehow stop paying on the annuity when someone died.
Right. So they could easily, the companies could easily have gone to the same death master file, verified that their policyholder had died, and take the next step of contacting the beneficiary.
You're mild-mannered, and we appreciate that. We want that from our controller. But when talking about this to a reporter from the Los Angeles Times, you used some very strong language. You felt as if their actions were shameful, despicable, unconscionable.
Yes.
And I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but it's just interesting for someone as mild-mannered as Betty Yee to really, I mean, it raised your ire.
It raised my ire.
Yeah.
So when you think about it on a very personal level, I mean, my mother's 93 years old, right? And so, I mean, if this ever happened to my mother with her life insurance policy, I'd be outraged, and a lot of families should be outraged. What we found here, we purchase insurance to have a sense of security for those who are going to be surviving us. And so for that not to be there, for the companies not to fulfill their duty in terms of all of the years that the premiums have been paid into these policies, to then actually take the cash proceeds of those policies and continue paying themselves when the policyholders passed away.
Well, they're making interest.
Exactly.
Right.
And this was a business industry-wide practice. Industry-wide practice, not one company, but from company to company, we saw this happening. And not only that, but when they exhausted the cash proceeds of the policy, allowed those policies to lapse. So in some cases, there was nothing to even claim.
Oh, I see. They were paying
themselves out of the amount of money that was built up in the policy.
Because they presumed that the person hadn't died yet, and so they needed to keep paying the premiums. I completely get it. But you hinted at it before. We do have some good actors now.
Yes.
And so if they can't find the beneficiary, what are they doing if it's a Californian?
We have offered to them, and we continue to offer to them, and they are now coming forward. If they cannot locate the beneficiary, turn over the benefits, we will do the search. And we will hold those benefits for as long as it takes until we find the loved ones who deserve them.
And if one thinks that there may be benefits being held by the state, there's the website that you said,
claimit.ca.gov. Please, please. And check the website often now with life insurance benefits.
Right.
We ask that those who are searching the website search under the name of the policyholder.
Not yourself, obviously.
Right, exactly.
Right, that would make sense.
Right.
I have gone to claimit.ca.gov and have found a few, $50 here, $100 there. Yeah, I had moved, and so they weren't able to find me. A few years ago, then California Assemblyman Jimmy Gomez surprised me with a big check.
Yes, good.
Which was a lot of fun. Not so much in dollars, but he made a poster.
Sure.
But recently, my wife went to claimit.ca.gov and found potential money, a few $100s.
Yes.
But it was very different than what we had done before, because when we typed our names in before, we would just file a claim there and a check would come in a few weeks.
Yes.
Let me hand you what she received.
Sure.
Because this is a lot different than what we've had in the past.
Yes.
So what are you looking at, and what's different than when we just got it through the state?
Well, this is what we would call a pre-escheat notice. So essentially what this is telling your wife is that there is property that belongs to her. It could be money, it could be stocks, whatever the property is, that is in the hands of a company that is holding the property, and she can proceed to claim the property from this business entity that's listed here.
So it hasn't been given to the state yet?
Not yet. And so the companies will do their part to try to locate the owner of the property, and if they're unsuccessful, generally within a 3-year period of time, if they're not able to make that connection, they then will turn the property over to my office, the state controller's office, and we will hold it for as long as it takes until we find the rightful owner.
But what's interesting is this company notified you even before they turned it over.
Yes. So
that's at some level helpful.
Absolutely. So companies are required to report properties that they are holding, and this is how we first learned about the life insurance situation. Life insurance companies, when they were filing their property statements with us, there were no reporting of death benefits, which triggered a little bit of a red flag, because that suggested they were either very efficient in paying out the death benefits or that they were not really reporting them.
What's also interesting, it's not just money or stocks or bonds. It can also be the contents of safe deposit boxes. And you've found, or you've had items turned over to the state with some of the craziest things in the safe deposit box.
There are some crazy things, but these safe deposit boxes, just heirlooms and treasured items of families, individuals, but
memorabilia,
could be military medals. There have been bags of just precious gemstones. We think they're diamonds, but all of that. But but when I look at that property, there is obviously a history, a story behind each of it. It has special meaning to the families and the loved ones.
So the key is, I urge, and I'm sure the controller urges you, just to go to the website every 6 months or so.
Please search it periodically. We are getting new property in every day. Claimit.ca.gov. Depending on the value of the property, you can claim the property online as well.
Right. It's really a remarkable service, and one that I know it means a lot to you that you're able to offer this service, because be it life insurance, be it the military medal, this matters to people.
Absolutely, and this property belongs to people who, to the rightful owners.
Her name is Betty Yee. She is the controller of the great state of California. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are in Sacramento today, and you're watching us on Local Edition.